So have you guys already created account in AWS? AWS account? You can register a free tier account in AWS. Okay. You can register the free tier. So here is a sign up page there when you sign in console. So you can someone is asking.
కలిసింది కానీ ఇట్లా ఒక ఆప్షన్ ఉందంటే ఎవరు రుషిద్ గారికి అంటే నేను ఒకసారి తెలుసుకుంటా, నేను మాట్లాడి అడిగి తెలుసుకుంటా అన్నాడు.
So AWS console, we can register and create an account. Okay, create a new AWS account. So it's very straightforward, right? We can register with email and phone number and register with the credit card. So it will deduct, I think $1-2 and then return back. So just verifying the user account is valid or not, like credit card information. So once your account is created, you can log in your account. And log in your account in AWS console. So you will see that in AWS console, there are the various services are there. Okay, so different category of the services we have. So there are the services like analytics services, database services, container services. So analytics services and compute service, both are different. Compute services like EC2 instance comes. So when we are creating our new EC2 instance, so last session I showed how to create our EC2 instance. So I will show it today again, and how to create a public private key and how to access our EC2 instance using the putty and using the git bash, or using the EC2 is having a one session connect, right? Directly you can connect in the EC2 instance. So if I check it in my region, okay, right now I'm in Mumbai region. There are the different regions are there, and these regions are basically based on the geography.
Sir, can't see the screen, sir.
So based on the geographic location, this geographic location, we have different regions are there. Okay, so like we can create EC2 instance in any region. So, but it is better to use the
Arvind ji,
yes,
we are not able to see your screen.
Okay. Okay, thanks for letting me. Okay. So
yeah. Can you record the section also?
Yeah, it is recorded.
Yeah, last time. Yeah, you
Yeah,
okay.
I recorded. Actually, I didn't share the screen, but I recorded.
Yeah, okay.
So here in the AWS, right? So we have different EC2 instance we can create. If we want to launch a new instance, so we can go to the launch instance, and there I can give my instance name. Okay, I say my EC2 instance 1 or 2, anything you can give. Suppose you want to create more than one instance of the same configuration type, just add here the number of instances. If you change here the number of instances, it will automatically create those many number of instances of same configuration. So here you have to choose which operating system
EC2 means is a virtual machine, correct?
Yeah, same like a VMs we call in the Azure and GCP, we have VM. So here is called EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. So Elastic Compute Cloud is like your EC2 machine, your desktop machine, CPU side, you can say.
Okay.
You will not get any user interface, like a laptop kind of user interface you will not get, but you will get hardware you will get. You will get the CPUs, you will get memory, you will get a disk, everything you will get it. So you have to select one EC2 machine you want to make it ready. So generally what AWS is doing, AWS has already data center, and data center have the racks and nodes are there. Already they have the, so when you are requesting any EC2 machine and whatever the operating system, the whatever configuration you selected, based on your configuration, it will be providing you the one ready-made machine. Okay, so you don't know the which location it is. Only thing is you know which region you are creating. So whatever region you are creating, the EC2 machine you will be given from that region. Okay, so we are selecting like, okay, I want to select the Ubuntu. So here is a free tier eligibility. The micro instance is a free. Like this is a free tier eligible. Okay. But the other operating system, if you go for deep learning or like some other GPUs, okay. So these are not free tier. Free tier means like that is a part of your free tier instance. Like suppose you created a one instance, one account. Suppose you created one account now. So 1 year is a free tier eligibility for your account. So free tier eligibility is like basically you can use this OS without any charge. Okay, but if you want a more configuration and more high configuration operating system you want, like for the deep learning or the other purpose, so you have to take it charge one. So this free tier eligible is this one. Okay, selected. Okay, and here it is the what is the instance type. So EC2 there are the different types of instances are there, depend on the CPUs and memory. Okay, so T2 micro is a free tier eligible and it is having very less CPUs and less memory. But if you go for other like T2 small, T2 medium, you have to pay this much USD charge you have to give per hour. Okay, so if your requirement is a very less, so even the free tier is fine, but the disk size you will get up to 30 GB. Okay, 30 GB is free tier eligible disk size, like your SSD memory. Okay, SSD disk. Okay, so if you want to use T2 micro, and you have to select the key pair. So I have already created some key pair, so I can use that key pair. But suppose if I have not created key pair, so I can create a new PAM file. So this is called public file and one is a private key file. So I can create a new key pair file. I give the name here, my new key pair. Okay, any name you can give and you can create key pair. It will save in your local machine. And this key pair file you will use next time when you log in the machine. Without that key file, you cannot log in. So I'm selecting my already existing key pair is there, my EC2 new key pair. So generally what is practice, what is a good practice? You should create a key pair once and use for different instance. Don't create new key pair. Otherwise you will be, because one key pair you created for this machine, this EC2, you cannot use for the other EC2. Okay. So whatever key pair you are selecting here, only that key pair you can use with that EC2 machine. So if you are keeping it same key pair, the benefit is you will not have to remember, right, which instance is using which key pair. So you can use for any instance, you can use the same key pair. Okay. Next is a security group. Security group is basically defining your security rules, right? Inbound and outbound rules. Like this EC2 machine can access any system, or your EC2 machine can be accessed by any system. So inbound rule and outbound rule. So inbound rule is like your EC2 machine can access any system. So you can allow any system. So you can create a new security group or you can choose existing security group. So if existing security group I have already, so no need to create a new security group. So I will assign the existing security group. Okay. And here is the disk space. So 8 GB, it gives a default disk space, but free tier eligibility is up to 30 GB. Suppose 8 GB, you will give four instance you can give max, right? So if you give all 30 GB, you can keep it here, or 30 GB you can distribute into the 4 EC2 instance. That's same. Okay. So 30 GB is a free tier eligibility, and after that, like you will be charged, nominal charge will be there. Even though your instance is not running, but it is using your EBS volume. It is using your EBS volume, right? Your SSD it is using. So you will have to give hardly $2, $1 monthly charge. Okay. So that will be very less negligible. Okay. But if your instances keep running, then your charge will be 750 hours is free. If this instance is running 750 hours in a month, it's free. But beyond that 750 hours, you will be charged. So it's all not one single instance. Suppose group of instance you have. In my EC2, there are the 4-5 instances are there. So I will calculate the 750 hours for all the instances, not one instance. So if I say one instance you have, if even it is running for all 24/7, you will not get the bill, right? Because one instance can take 720 hours in a month, right? But suppose I have 4 or 3 instances, or all are running, then I will definitely get the bill, right? Because my other instances, and if I accumulate all the hours, so it will be going more than 750. Okay. So just keep in remember, right? Like, okay, what you are using. So if you are using minimum one instance, then it is not a problem, right? Because one instance is the 750 hours free in a month. Okay. So you can see the free tier eligibility charges, right? You can see free tier eligibility charges. So so you can see all the hours, right? You can see 750 hours is 5 GB for the Amazon S3 for 12 months, right? This kind of all specification is giving the service by service. Okay. So 12-month free tier eligibility, this is the charges, right? Per month charges, some are the like this, and 12-month charges is given. Okay, 750 hours for 12 months. So this all we can come to know, and then we can accordingly we can use it. Okay. So now everything is set here. So now I can create my instance by launching the instance. Click on the launch instance, and it will make it my instance ready. Okay. So this is a new instance I created, my EC2 instance. So this instance is showing in the pending state. So once this instance is running, I can connect this system, this instance I can connect with the Git bash. So Git bash is like a Linux terminal in the Windows. You can download the Git bash in your local system. So just say Git bash download. So you can go to this page, Git SCM. Here you can download for Windows. So once you download this Git bash, you can use this Git bash to connect your Linux machine. So my PEM file is in my download folder. So I will move to the download folder, CD, download. And what is my PEM file for my public key file, right? My public key file name is my EC2 new key. So this is my, so I will check it is in the same folder or not, my EC2. So my EC2 new key PAN, it is there. This is there. So for any instance, so you can come to know what will be your connect URL. So click on the connect button, and here you can, if you want to connect AWS Connect Manager, so simply click on this connect. So AWS Connect Manager will connect your EC2 instance. Now I will be logging into my EC2 instance. Okay. So this Connect Manager is giving me access, like I'm right now in my EC2 instance, and I can create a directory test, cd test. So this is and here I can create some file, test.txt. So I created a file here. Okay, if I see ls command, I can see the file. Now the same EC2 instance, I want to connect through the Git bash. So I will go to the connect, and there is a SSH client is there. So SSH client, I will be using SSH command. So SSH command is a Linux command to connect any EC2 instance you can connect. Okay, and this is the SSH command with the this is a public key file, and this is the user of my EC2 machine, and at the rate this is my machine server name. Okay, this is my EC2 machine name. So every EC2 machine, if you see here, it will be, if you see the detail of my EC2 machine, this is my EC2 instance. If I go to my instance and click on my EC2 instance, so here you can see one public IP is there, one private IP is there. Public IP is used to access your EC2 machine from outside, and private IP is used internally. Okay, and this EC2 instance is assigned some, like this EC2 instance is basically a Ubuntu image. So this is the inbuilt image, AMI. So every operating system, every machine, right, is associated with the operating system, and that is related to one AMI. AMI is a Amazon machine image, and Amazon machine image is a one ID is there, unique ID that is particular for this Ubuntu. Suppose I create a one EC2 machine for Windows, so I will get a different AMI. So I can check all the AMIs here. I can find this is I can, or when I create a new EC2 machine, so it will ask me the option, right? So here you can see all the AMIs. Like, okay, if you see here Windows, so Windows is AMI ID. This is a Windows AMI. This is the Red Hat AMI. This is the Red Hat AMI. This is the Mac OS AMI. This is the Mac OS AMI. Okay. So this AMI, every operating system is associated with the image. This is the Amazon Linux. So Amazon has its own Linux flavor. So that image ID is this Amazon Linux. Okay. So Amazon Linux is having its own AMI. So all are these. If you want to see more AMIs, you can see this is a list of AMIs. Okay. So this list of AMIs are used by commonly used AMIs. But some AMIs are like a marketplace are there, right? Some are the third-party systems are there. So you can access their machines, like you can access their entire, but those are not free, right? Some are the free trial is there, but after that it is paid. Okay. But these are used for some specific use cases, like some are the machine learning related, some are the VPN related, right? So you are CentOS machine, right? So these are AMIs are not related to like commonly used AMI. Okay. Sometimes if you can create your EC2 instance as a AMI, for your EC2 instance, you can create your own AMI. Okay. So that also is possible. Okay. So now I copy my SSH connection, and now here I make it yes, connect, and it will give me the access of my EC2 machine. So if I see ls here, I can see the same test folder, and I can go to the cd test, and I can see my test.txt file. Okay. So this is a way like I can connect to my EC2 instance by git bash. So in Ubuntu also I can connect to the PuTTY also. So but PuTTY will not connect to the PAM file. I have to generate a PPK file. Okay. So how to generate a PPK file for PuTTY? So you can load the file here. So just take your PAM file here. My EC2 Ubuntu keep here. So I will find what is my EC2 new key. So my EC2 new key, that is my, so here is all PPK coming. I will make it all file. Now I will see my EC2, key PAM. Like suppose this is different one, but I'm saying this is a PAM file. You take this PAM file, and then you can generate, save as a private key file. So click yes, and then it will generate a one PPK file. Okay, so I have already generated my EC2 new key. I have already generated the PPK file. The same way you can generate your PPK file, and that PPK file you can use in PuTTY. So how to use in the PuTTY? So putty you log in. So putty here you need a public IP. So first of all, you need a public IP of your EC2 machine. You have to go to EC2 machine. Okay, one instance is running. So here you can check the public IP. This is a public IP. Copy this public IP, paste here, and here is the SSH is there, authenticate. So authentication, you go to the credential and select here private key file. So PPK file you can, this is the private key file. Select this one and click on OK. And it will ask you to accept and log in with the Ubuntu. So Ubuntu is a username for login, and it will not ask password. It will connect to your EC2. So now if you see here, ls you can do, you can see the same machine you can connect with the, so here is also test is there. Okay, so you can go to cd test and ls command, you can see cat test of txt. So this is the way like how to connect your EC2 instance. Okay, so next thing is I'm talking about in the compute, right? We will see, we have seen in the compute section, we seen like EC2, right? How to create our EC2. So another compute service is there, Lambda. So Lambda is a serverless. Lambda is a serverless computing service. So why it is called serverless? Because it's no need of any machine is needed. Even you don't create a EC2 machine, you can run your code. You can run your Python code by using AWS Lambda. So AWS Lambda is providing you the different runtime environment. So first of all, you create a runtime function. So there is an option when you're creating a Lambda, it's saying you can define your function name. So I say my first Lambda, my first Python Lambda. So I just given us some name. And here is a option, either you are creating from the scratch or some blueprint, or you are using container image. So I'm using a author from the scratch, right? I'm creating a new, my Lambda function. So Lambda is a serverless computing. Basically, you can write a code which you can execute in any of runtime environment. How many runtime environment are there? There are so many runtime environment are there. Like .NET is there, Java is there, Node.js is there. Okay, and we have Python is there, Ruby is there. So these are the different runtime environment. Okay, so we can use mostly Java, sometimes we use Python. So I am using Python one. So I'm creating a Python Lambda here. I selected the Python version. Okay, which Python version my runtime will be there. And now here I have to select some role. So if I have already some role for the Lambda, otherwise I can create a new role. Okay, with the Lambda, I can create a new role with the basic Lambda permission. Okay? So it will create role internally and assign to the Lambda. Because when you are using Lambda as a service, right, to execute any Python code by using Lambda function, okay, so you need some specific Lambda role. So there is a one service IAM service. So what is IAM? IAM is the Identity Access Management Service. And this IAM service is basically related to user, role, group permissions, right? So we have users, we have roles, we have policies, permission, we call permission here. And one is a user group. So if you have a same users belonging to one group, you can create a user group. Okay. So in this IAM, basically it is providing a role access management service. Okay. Suppose anybody who has no AWS account, but I want to give my account S3 access or EC2 access I want to give someone. So I can create a user and I can give the person to access my EC2 or S3 or any other service also. So here is without having the account, the person doesn't need to create account. So first I have to create a user. Okay, suppose I want to create a one user, I say some test user 1, 2, 3, 4, some user I have, and this user I want to give, I don't want to add user group. So next, I want to create this user. So this user is created. Now this user, I will be creating some roles. Okay, so I will be so I will create some role. Role is basically we are assigning some permissions. Okay, so I want to say I want to assign some Lambda. Okay, AWS service. For this, I want to create a role. So I want to give this particular role like, okay, there is a Lambda execution role. Lambda full access is there. Lambda basic execution role. So these kind of roles are used for executing any Lambda function. Okay. So once we create the role and the role name, so this role I can use in while creating a Lambda, that time I can use the role because I can define this role. So my AWS Lambda role, okay, I can give any name and then I can create a role. So my AWS Lambda role is created. Okay. So this role access I can give while I'm creating a Lambda. Okay. So I have already created Lambda. Otherwise, I can use here existing role. And what I can do here, I refresh it. I will get here the role, my AWS Lambda role. Because I have created a role is a type of AWS execution role. So that is the reason this role is coming. And then I will create a function. So now my Lambda function is ready. This Lambda function is ready. So I will see here is a code editor window. Okay. So if I see here, there is a code editor window. Here we see the some code window where we can write the code. May create a Lambda. Now it's coming. So this is a code window. So if I write any statement here, right? This is a Python code window, right? So I'm writing a hello here, and I want to test this code, right? This Python code I want to test. Just click on test, and here some event name you give, dummy event name. I event one, and then you just save and click on the test mode. So you will see this Lambda is run, and then you are able to print hello world Lambda. So this is printing. Hello world Lambda is printing. This is printing hello. Actually, it is returning the status code, this 200, and it's a hello world Lambda is printing. So if I want to trigger this Lambda from the other different services, like, okay, so what is S3? So if I have some file in my S3, S3 is a storage, okay. So S3 is a storage, and there is I can create and upload the file. Okay, let's do the S3, right? We can create our files in S3. So so when I come to the S3, so I need to create a bucket. Actually, S3 is the storage of your EC2 AWS account. Okay. So this S3 is a common file system for all EC2 instance. Anyone can access any instance can access this S3 bucket. So S3 bucket is a file system. There is a bucket is a folder, and this bucket has you can create further other folders you can create. So suppose if I go to this bucket, I have created already one my folder. And if I want to create another one more folder, I can create a folder and I can give my folder one. And my folder one, just the create a folder. So my folder one is created. In this my folder one, I want to upload any file. So I can add file and I can select any file and then upload the file. So you will see your file is uploaded in this my folder one. So what will be this folder location, right? So we can click here and copy so two types of URL is there. One is a HTTP URL and one is a S3 URL. HTTP URL is a URL, like if I copy paste outside, it can be accessible, but it's still I need to give the permission because public access is not given to this file. So that is the reason this public access URL is not able to access. And another URL is a S3 URL. This S3 URL is a S3:// like my bucket, so it is internally used by the AWS, right? This S3 URL. Okay. So in S3, we are uploading the file, we can download the file, we can delete the file, or we can do other different options like we can move file from one bucket to another bucket, or we can rename the any object, right, in the bucket, right? So metadata, storage class. So there are many options are there we can do. Okay. So this S3 file I want to read in my Lambda. Okay. Suppose I say I want to, whenever the file is arrived, as a text file is arrived, I want to trigger my Lambda, and Lambda will read my file and show the content in my Lambda console. So Lambda console, I should be able to read my content. That's my requirement. Like I want to, in my Lambda function, I want to trigger like the S3. So I have to add a trigger. So there's a trigger option is there, like from where you want to trigger your S3, from where you want to trigger your Lambda. So suppose I say I want to trigger Lambda from the S3. So I will define S3 and I will have to give the bucket. So I have to tell the bucket. Okay. And one more thing is, whenever you are creating a Lambda function, and both should match the same region. Otherwise, you cannot get, because this error will come. Okay. So here my S3 bucket is a different location. My Lambda is in the different. Yeah. So my Lambda is saying bucket region is this must match region AP South 1. So my bucket region is a different region of bucket because bucket is entire global, right? So I will go another bucket. Actually, the second bucket is in the AP South 1. So this bucket is in the US West region. So I should use this bucket. Okay, in this bucket, I upload one file. Okay, and upload it. I can create a folder also. So this particular bucket is my input location. So I will select this bucket for my Lambda. So I will tell not this bucket. I will select the second bucket. So this bucket is in the same location. Now I'm giving the event type. So I'm selecting the all event type. So I will select post event. Okay. So I want to write, I want to take it as a file import, right, from the S3 in my Lambda. So here is in the prefix means, like suppose you have some folder is there in your bucket. So you can specify, but right now I don't have any folder and directly I have a file star.txt I can do. So file extension. So file extension I'm defining as a suffix as a star.txt. And then I'm creating the one trigger. Okay, so this trigger is basically a custom event trigger. So what is this custom event trigger? Whenever the file is arrived in your S3 bucket, okay, then it will trigger hit your Lambda function and you can read the file content. So we have to write some code. We have to write some code here in our Lambda function to read the file. Okay, so that code we have to write. Okay. So So suppose I have a data in S3. So this is the example of like I have to use the Photo3 API. So this is example like suppose I have some CSV file, a JSON CSV file, like CSV file I have, and I'm going to read this CSV file. So I create a one CSV file. Okay, so I'm saving this file, all file. So I saved this file. Now next is once after saving this file, I'm writing this Photo3 code. So Photo3 is a Python-based API to read the data from. So here I'm just reading the data from S3 and writing the data to the DynamoDB table. Okay. Or simply if I just want to print the data, like print employee, so I can write this code. Okay. First we write a code without DynamoDB. So I'm copying this code. And here, this is a Python code. So I'm just writing this. Okay. So here I have to import Photo3. So DynamoDB I don't want to use. So simply I will remove this. Okay. And now next is in the Lambda function. This is the import statement. I have to keep it outside. I can keep it because it is using Photo3. Okay. And I'm creating a one S3 object by using Photo3 client. So Photo3 dot client S3, I will get a S3 object so that I can read my file. And after that, I'm telling my bucket and this one. So I'm telling here what is my bucket name. So bucket name I'm telling here, this is my bucket. Okay, I have a file. Okay, I created a emp.csv. This bucket or another bucket. I have to upload this. Guy. Not sure. Employee.csv. Okay, so I uploaded. So I have not saved my Lambda function. So you will not save it. So you have to deploy it. You click on the deploy, then it will save your changes. Okay. Otherwise, it will not be reflected. Okay. So always you have to save. So here is giving indentation error. Okay. So it is file name. Deploy. Okay, so this is a custom event is called. Let's see what is coming. I think Lambda is not able to execute the thing. So check the configuration. Uh, Default role. Okay, so if we add I add this Lambda available. Okay, this role should have S3 policy access also, right? Because if this role is not having S3 access, so it will not be able to access S3. So what I need to do in my IM role, I have to go. I go to the IM role and this particular lambda. Right? Okay, lambda, I have this particular role, right? This role. So if I click on this role and this role, I will add S3 full access because I added AWS lambda permissions. Okay, but I have to provide some other service also you want to access. So you have to give S3 full access. Suppose I want to access DynamoDB with this same lambda, so I have to add DynamoDB also. So otherwise my DynamoDB will not work to access. So DynamoDB full access. So we add these permissions. Now my lambda is with the lambda full access, lambda execution role, and S3 full access and DynamoDB full access. So once this is updated, once your role is updated, now you test again. Okay, like the first we do the manual coding, manual testing, right? So manual testing is in this lambda, we just click on the test. See, I'm able to see the values here. This is my CSV file data. This is my CSV file data, right? I'm able to see my CSV file data. I'm able to see my log, right? So I'm able to see my log of my CSV file data. If I change to some other file, I can see the data. Okay, so if I change to this file, lambda.txt, lambda.txt, change here, file name is not employee.csv, lambda.txt. So I deploy it and click on the test. So you will see this is your lambda file. Okay, if I show you this lambda, if I see here my Hadoop workshop, this lambda. So can you see this is the same file? It is showing more content. I think it is a long content, but it is coming in a single line. Okay. So this is the content is coming. So it is reading the content. Okay. Second way is like whenever I upload any file, it should be trigger also. Okay. So now for that, what need to do? I will upload the some file in S3 here. Okay, like some text file. These are all text file documents. So I will take it one as text file document. I upload it. When I upload this text file. And now I verify my lambda is trigger or not. Go to the monitor tab. And monitor tab, there is a CloudWatch. And if you click here, so I have like 20, 20, 25. This is event is not coming. Can complete file. We have given a custom event trigger. In our lambda, this is our trigger, and this is a bucket. The start.txt. .txt. So I'm printing that event or not, okay. This will print the data is coming from the event notification automatically created when I created a trigger. So when I create a trigger, automatically one event notification is created here. This event notification is here it is continue with configuration. So two ways we can get it. Still it is not triggering. It should automatically trigger. Okay. Okay, I will check it. So it is basically manual trigger and one is the automatic trigger. So automatic trigger is through the custom event. We can upload any file of that particular extension in the bucket or folder. So it will trigger. I guess. Okay, I will share it. Okay.